Zerode Katipo 160. So the Katipo is the 29-inch version of Zerode's bike range, and the 160 is their enduro version, so that's 160mm travel out the back. I've chosen to change a few specs around compared to what the default is coming out of Zerode's factory in Wellington. Key amongst those is the DVO suspension. I've been running DVO suspension on my dual suspension bike since 2017, and I've absolutely loved it. I've gone for a coil in the back. The Katipo suspension linkage and the way that it works allows a coil, so that's really handy. It's my first time with a coil, but you know, it's one of those things that because of my weight, you know, I'm 135 kilos when I'm all kitted up and out riding. The coil is just the more logical choice for that. So we've got Jade X at the back, that's running a 700-pound spring, and I've got the Onyx fork up front. This is actually the e-bike version, so it's the E1. The reason that I've done that is, again, just because I'm a heavier rider. It's just got bigger bushings. It's designed to handle that little bit of extra weight much better. So that's what I've gone for. I've got the bike yoke dropper, which is what Zerode would normally spec it with. Gone for a 213mm drop on that because I can. The brakes are Magura MT5s, which is what Zerode would normally spec it with, but I have gone with a 220mm rotor up front and a 200mm rotor up the back, again to try and handle that weight. I've got the 12-speed gearbox. So obviously Zerode bikes, the point of difference is that they run the Pinion Gearbox system. So I've gone for the 12-speed over the 9-speed, which has got the carbon belt drive running up the back. The other thing which is a bit different is I've got 6th Element carbon wheels on here. So 6th Element is a small company based out of Japan. It's an Aussie bloke running Japan. So these are 6th Elements carbon rims, colour matched, obviously, just because why wouldn't you? They're laced to a DT Swiss 350 hub up front and a Project 321 hub out the back. Now the reason I've gone for the 321 hub out the back is it's got 214 points of engagement, which is a lot, but when you compare that to the, I think it's 20 or 30, somewhere in that range, points of engagement in the gearbox, it means the whole drivetrain just works a little bit better. We've got Deity carbon bars, they're 800mm wide. Obviously got the GripShift, that's standard with the Pinion Gearbox, and I'm running Crank Brothers Mallet DH pedals. Tyres, I've got the Maxxis DHF up the front because Maxxis DHF, and at the back I'm actually running a Maxxis Dissector. It's my first time running a Dissector, so we'll see how that goes. It was developed in partnership with Troy Brosnan. Troy Brosnan, this is where he lives, this is his hometown, and he rides these sort of trails. So I figured that's a good reason for me to get it. Apart from that, look, the finish on the bike is absolutely immaculate. Yeah, once I had it all built up, there's a couple of things which I've just tweaked on it. The first thing is the DVO frame protection. So it's just the generic kit that you get off DVO. This is the Aotearoa one. The other thing I've done is the colloquially known tensioner mod. Essentially that's just giving the tensioner on the belt a little bit of love, just to protect it a little bit. So there's a sleeve over the spring to stop grit and stuff getting in there. And I've upgraded some of the bearings in it as well, which is, it's a really common mod for owners who have got these things. So yeah, that's the bike. I think you'd agree that it just looks absolutely stunning. So what I reckon we do now is we head out on the trails and take it for a spin.
Alright, so here we are, out on the trails. This is my local trails. This is where I spend most of my time. And this is my first sort of up and down ride. We did some shuttles over the weekend. that was great. Getting the bike dialed in, having a good old time. But this is my first sort of ride where I'm going to be going up and down the hills. So I'm going to head down, straight down one of the gnarlier tracks here, called Shapeshifter, just because if it works here, it's going to work everywhere. Missed that one. Oh, that rear end just eating the trails. And can you hear how quiet it is? But suspension is eating up. Brakes are amazing. I knew that from the hardtail. I will note that the gearbox makes some noise, which I wasn't expecting. I don't know why I wasn't expecting that. It makes perfect sense. But you can kind of hear it whirring away down there. But, you know, in reality, it's probably no louder than the chain on a traditional derailleur bike. But because there's no other noise, you hear it so much more. So that's a bit weird. Shifting, I find really intuitive. I don't know, a lot of people say the grip shift is the thing that puts them off. To me, it's great. Like, as I say, I find it intuitive. I find it works. I've only shifted gears the wrong way a couple of times. So, I don't know what people are complaining about with the grip shift. I do find with the instant engagement, I'm changing gears more, which is interesting. Like, you know, you come up to a section on a derailleur bike and go, oh, wouldn't mind being one down or one up, but you go, oh, it'll take 3 pedal strokes for the gears to change, and by that stage I'll probably be back where I want to have it a bit easier. So ultimately you don't bother. Whereas here with a gearbox, you can just go switch, switch, switch as much as you want. It's amazing. Now, in terms of winching, I mean, this is magic. I gotta say, the combination of the new compression switch on the DVO Jade X and the suspension design, you know, the anti-squat properties of the Zerode, make this really, really good to climb. Like, I'm actually sort of thinking, is there a rear shock? It is almost that bobbless. You know, it is a bit of bob, of course there is, but nothing like my old stump jumper. So yeah, that's a win. Like, I'm huffing and puffing because I'm not fit and I'm a fat bastard, but I'm motoring up here as fast, if not faster, than I would on the hardtail. So for an enduro bike with 160mm travel front and rear to be hauling up a hill with the same speed as a hardtail is pretty good. I say that's pretty good. Now this is a track which I've actually been really keen to do on this one because it's not rutted, but it's chattery. It's really chattery, and I think this is where the small bump compliance of this amazing rear end is going to really come into play, because it's hard to maintain speed on this track in a hardtail because you just get shaken. I'm going to run my shock in open mode. I've got the fork set up just so. I've just got the top in second gear. No, that's not going to work. Let's go 10 for poops and giggles, and let's have it. Now here the gearbox is going to come into play, because I can get some pedal strokes in here when normally I'll be changing gears ready for the next climb. But I can do that now while I'm just enjoying not having to deal with that rear chatter from the back wheel. This is the biggest pedal section on here. Again, open shock. Don't know why you bother with the firm mode. That's beautiful. Oh, 50 Shades of Clay, I love you. So, we've done some ups, done some downs. Question is, what do we think? And I've got to say, there's no way you can't like this bike. None. I mean, it looks sublime. It rides amazing. It's just everything that I wanted it to be and more. So it was a big punt to go with something so unknown, but man, I'm glad I did. It's just working for me. So, you know, I think everyone says that the suspension on these bikes works really well, and not having that weight on the back wheel is really noticeable. All in all, the suspension works, it climbs like a mountain goat. The gearbox is, I think, a win. The shifting is intuitive. The belt drive is starting to squeak a little bit, but that's a common thing when you're in the dry, dusty stuff, and can be remedied by a dab of silicone. The whole bike just works. I'm so super happy with it. Now, I've got to say huge thanks to the team at Zerode, in particular Tom. I've been emailing Tom for near on 12 months now about this bike, and it's been a lot of to and fro. He's been super patient with me, so huge thanks to Tom. Big thanks to Ali for helping with all the invoicing, making sure I didn't get totally done over by import duty and taxes, and also for helping out with the wheels. That meant a huge amount to both me and Shane. I've got to say huge thanks to Jesse from DVO New Zealand, and finally huge shout out to Shane, Sixth Element Bikes over in Japan for oh, hey Skip, didn't even see you there, for these wheels. They look great, they feel great. Oh, another one. How you doing, guys? Riding in Australia, right? Hopefully one day I'll get to ride with all you legends, buy you all a beer to say thank you